What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Heaven 17, and we're returning to the Luxury Gap, 1983, and the next tune in the playlist, do I have this right? Yeah, Key to the World. Sounds very dramatic. It sounds like some particular entity, understanding, or process will give one a gateway to the world at large. Obviously, that could be figurative or metaphorical. I would expect it to be. But yes, it suggests that there's some simple Gordian knot, if you will, to gain access to or power over the world. And given that the first few tracks on the album have had a bit of socio-economic, technological commentary, it feels like it might be running in the same direction as that. I suppose one's world could be more personal, more narrow in scope, and might not actually be the globe or humanity at large, but it does sound like there's some particular catalyst or crucial element that will give you an ability to affect a much larger world, whatever scale that world might be on. So let me see what I can pick up on first listen. This is Heaven 17. The track is Key to the World, and it's from their 1983 album, The Luxury Gap.
Short of cash. Tell me what's so bad about wanting to feel so good. I want a better life and I'd like to buy one if I could. Hey, I've got my key. I've got my key to the world. Liquidity don't bother me. I've got
is that liquidity? Don't bother me.
They'll send me all their money, and all I have to do is sign. Living in a big way, a winner all the time. In just 5 golden hours, I bought myself a car. I sold my soul for charge plate gold. We know who you are. It's all too easy buying items on your wish list. It's easier than you think. But trying to fill the luxury gap has pushed me to the brink. To friends, I am a legend, the man who had the beat. But to the credit agencies, I'm Mr. Obsolete. Delete.
So much happening sonically. Holy smokes. So, yes, it's hard to comment on anything else first other than the Sonics, which they're big, they're dramatic, they're a bit soulful and jazzy, but also seemingly a bit comedic at the same time. There's a lot going on all up and down the track. Deep down below, there's these like rolling, sounds like true piano type of like bass chords, and then in the middle of the track, there's this like smooth percussive rhythm, including this little, I think it was like a hi-hat just kind of riding along at different points. Near the top of the tune, there's a lot of brass, which some of it sounds like real brass. I always do wonder when I hear brass in like 80s tracks, like is it keyboard brass or is it like actual brass? But that trumpet lead, which, you know, comes in and is sort of, I don't know, flourishing in a certain mode, and then it just kicks into this higher gear where it reminds me of like, you know, what was the Herb Alpert and the Tijuana brass? It feels like this real kind of rich, almost Latin flavored brass soloing. So yes, all up and down the track, there's a whole bunch of sonic expression going on, and then in the middle of it are the vocals and the lyrics, which I do think it is, again, making reference to business and financial security, but also like insecurity about that and trying to close the luxury gap. You bought yourself a car, you're imagining the kind of friends you're going to have, you're making more money, but you've sold your soul. Like, it feels like it's very much commenting on business and capitalism of the 80s, and which, again, you know, here people talk about like Reaganomics, and I know Thatcher in the UK, and that sort of socioeconomic culture was in many ways very similar. So it feels like it's making witticisms and observations about that dynamic of trying to make it and trying to, you know, be in the corporate world and, you know, get your 2-car garage, and through all of that and through your posturing and, you know, social presentation, you may actually be selling out who you really are as a person. So it feels like there is a bit of critique in there, but it's doing it in the way that a lot of punk songs do, actually, where they're singing from the voice of the person who's affecting these postures and, you know, trying to sign his name on a contract and get those dollars. But there's a clear phrasing that suggests an irony or a sarcasm. A sarcasm? What weird pronunciation I have. But yes, it feels, again, sort of like a punk song in that it's from the voice of someone behaving this way, but it seems to be critiquing that kind of behavior and the way that it's being talked about. So, either way, an interesting contrast or dynamic between the fun, a bit crazy and all over the place Sonics with what I think, or I take to be, a bit of a critique of the socioeconomic culture of capitalistic and corporate forces in the 80s. So, curious to hear what people have to say about this. Obviously, we get the title of the album in the track. We get a reference to the luxury gap, which, you know, I suppose could be a gap between people, sort of that, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, like, oh, like everyone in our neighborhood, you know, they have great jobs and they have these nice fancy luxury cars out front, and I feel like, you know, if I'm going to belong here, or if I'm going to be part of this world that I want to be part of, the key to this world is to show that I have disposable cash and that I'm affluent. But it also feels, again, a bit cheeky in the way that it's approaching it. So I like the contrast between what sounds like a bit of a sharp-tongued narrative or themes playing out in the lyrics relative to the Sonics, which again are a bit bright and crazy and all over the place. So yeah, very much enjoyed that one. Curious to hear what people have to say about it. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.